Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we're going to study Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse number 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma Vijitatma jitendriya Sarva bhutatma bhutatma Kurvana pina lipyate. Translation. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. So here Krishna is giving some of the wonderful benefits of practicing devotional service or bhakti yoga. And he mentions one who controls his mind and senses. So this is a very interesting phenomenon because it explains why or how one can become dear to others. And at the same time, everyone becomes dear to oneself. So, why are the senses such a source of trouble? Well, let's say, for example, there's a married man, and then there comes a woman besides the wife, and she wants to have a relationship outside the rules, and she wants to have sex life and break all the rules. So, if the man has no control over his senses, the senses will say, oh, it's more enjoyment, you should do this, you can enjoy more, two women. So he will get dragged into a chain of reaction that will end in suffering. The same thing happens with the person who's drinking wine and can't stop. The senses will say, oh, just take more. And then the uncontrolled senses are just like wild horses. So the result of that is just pain. And when there is so much unrestricted sense enjoyment, what happens is one creates enemies. That woman, for example, she happens to have another lover, and then the wife is angry because she found out, and then the whole thing becomes such a big problem. Instead of just the man understanding that, oh, I have already a wife, I should be satisfied with this. So the mind and the senses will usually, especially in the beginning of spiritual life, lead to the wrong direction. They will be misguiding and will create just more and more trouble. But someone who is spiritually advanced, who has developed this pure bhakti, then they don't have those problems, and because of that they don't have enemies. Everyone they find or they meet, they always try to give the best advice, the best thing for them. At whatever level someone is, one should always offer help and service. How can I serve so that this person will become a better practitioner of the love of God? How can, even if they're very, very neophyte or they don't have any interest in spiritual life, one can always do something to help them improve. And that's, for example, offering spiritual food. If I offer food to God and I distribute it to my friends, even though they might not care about God or spiritual life or anything, just by eating that offered food, they are also experiencing spiritual benefit. So they might not be able to understand, oh, this food tastes really good, how do you prepare it? Or they have no clue that they're eating a spiritual food, but they will recognize that this is something special, this is very nice, and they will become very grateful. So in the same way, the interactions of a pure soul, because his self-control, his mind and senses are controlled, then he becomes very dear to everyone. He helps everyone who's around him. And this is very noticeable also in a great personality that appears many times in the scriptures. He's called Narada Muni. And he's traveling all the time, playing his musical instrument and explaining and preaching about the glories of the Lord. And he encounters all kinds of difficulties. One time he met, for example, a hunter, and the hunter was half killing the animals. He was not killing them fully because he enjoyed seeing them suffer. So he met him and he told him, "Oh, what you're doing is very, very bad for you." So he granted the vision of what he would achieve if he continued that he would go to hell. He granted that vision to the hunter to see what he was getting ready for. And the hunter realized, "Oh, I'm going to suffer too much in hell. What can I do? Tell me, please instruct me." So he instructed him in the process of bhakti, and he changed his activities, and he was completely transformed into a different person. So even someone who doesn't care and has no clue about spiritual life, they will be benefited by the association of a pure soul. And that because of these activities, that person becomes very dear to everyone. And the person who's in that state also considers everyone very dear. He will do whatever is best to help everyone around him. So it's a two-way thing. And it's a very, very beautiful quality of a pure soul. You should see this yourself as you practice spiritual life, that your friends and persons around you will start to develop more affection towards you. This is a natural consequence of spiritual life. Many times in the beginning, a neophyte becomes a little too extreme, and for example, if someone is eating meat, he'll become angry or something like that, and lose the patience very quickly. That's just a neophyte stage. But as a devotee matures, he will achieve these qualities. And then Krishna says, "Though always working, such a man is never entangled." So this is another very important thing, that, for example, here I'm working on these videos and I'm practicing music and I'm preparing a video to show the community here in Mexico. And all these are, maybe someone would see this and then, "Oh, you're working very hard." And yes, it is work. But the difference is that because everything is offered in devotional service to Krishna, to the Lord, then there's no entanglement. It's not like the man that goes with another woman besides being married, then he gets entangled and then everybody gets angry around, and it's a circle that just goes lower and lower, downward spiral. But devotional service is the opposite. It's an upward spiral, that whatever you do is for God, and then God reciprocates and you feel very beautiful feelings in your heart, and then you do more to serve Him, and then He will reciprocate more and more, and it just increases upwards. And there's no results of sinful activity because it's all spiritual. There's nothing to worry about, that, "Oh, all this karma, I'm working so hard, but then I'm going to have to suffer the results of all my activities." But it's not like that. The spirit soul who is in this pure love of God, all his activities are transcendental. That means that he doesn't have to worry about the karma, because everything is done out of love, a spontaneous love. Then there's no problem. At the time of death, he will just go directly to the spiritual world and have a happy life. And very important to understand that, again, the successful spiritual practice means that one becomes very dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to one also. In this body, one doesn't have to die and then go to heaven and then I'm an angel or something like that. No, I can achieve that state while I'm living here, and it's a very wonderful thing to feel that, "Oh, everyone likes me so much because not because I'm a rock star or something like that and puffed up, but because I'm humble. I'm serving everyone, I help everyone, so they appreciate. And then also that we become very, very careful to treat all living entities very nicely. We don't just slaughter animals for satisfying the tongue, for example, just to eat meat. We take care of everyone and protect everyone accordingly. So these are the qualities of someone who's practicing devotional service. And as I was saying, you don't have to wait until you die and become an angel or something like that. You can practice in even a few short months and a few years. You can achieve these states if you are guided properly and you're serious in your practice. It's not very, very hard, and it's something that I recommend to everyone. So if you have any questions or comments, please visit our website, thevedicway.org. Oh, by the way, and there's a Spanish website with the same topics or similar topics I'm presenting. One day is going to be English class, and the next day in Spanish. So I want to reach a Spanish audience because there's not much content there of the Vedas. So if you happen to know anyone who knows only Spanish, please send them to caminovedico.org. And for those who speak English, just keep on listening here, and we'll continue every 2 days. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.